Salutations.
Salutations. Where's the pillow?
Here's what?
Oh, I have to go get one more pillow.
Okay. You already be comfy. There's a bear. I see a bear.
Bear time.
Bear. He's barely there. It was pretty much a rain, huh?
Oh my gosh. That was like a big miracle. To have those, storm after storm come through. And now he feels better already.
Yep.
mouse.
The external mode.
This mouse is speaking.
The external mode. Salutations and greetings, my divine friends. All those from planet Earth and other star systems, welcome. We always talk about the mystery, the magic of the star tetrahedron. A form of consciousness and light that we learn how to formulate within, through, and around us. And being the mystical marriage of divine power, the masculine, the divine feminine, it then creates this unified field around us that we call the Christ matrix. Not a person, but a system of creation. And as we begin to refine it and it becomes more light imbued in its movement, triangulations, moving, spinning, it then opens a sacred doorway within the very middle of it, which is within us, you see, within the area of the heart chakra, which is the jewel in the lotus. It's a doorway then back into the void from out of which spirit source first emanated to begin creation. And so we become, as we formulate it, creator beings who are then summoning spirit from the open doorway through the focusing of mind, attention, and focus upon imagination and feeling the divine feminine, and then spirit arising forth from the void. It then literally creates life around us. And of course, this is the new paradigm that we are moving into, where we become creator beings. And as creator beings, there would no longer be food shortages, there would no longer be resource shortages, because everything already exists within what we call the chaos of the Eoma. If you can imagine the Eoma as super refined particles, where everything within creation is hovering within this mist, if you will, the Eomic mist. And then as we imagine and feel, it then creates a holographic image. And then as spirit then imbues it with life, the Eoma then literally precipitates around it these star particles, if you will, and then it literally becomes embodied and manifest as creation. So we are also part of that creative force that we exist in our first emanation from out of source as simply a point of light, So, source, if you will, within the void, asked itself, what am I? And there was a point of light, a point of consciousness. The point of consciousness then mirrored itself. So here is positive, if you will, the light emanation. And as it mirrored itself, it created a reflection, which we call the negative. It's not negative in the sense of wrong, it's just the polar opposite. So here is positive and here is negative. And we know within the elements of creation that when we have a positive and a negative, it then creates the element of hydrogen. Hydrogen is one proton, positive, one electron, negative. And so in the primal beginning of creation, it was simply positive and negative. But as it then kept mirroring itself, positive, negative, the whole universe, if you will, was filled with this positive, negative frequency, which is hydrogen. The hydrogen then began to be attracted to itself, which is simply what love is. Love is the attraction of that which is similar to itself. At the same time, there were great fields of consciousness existing that began to hone and refine it into specific areas of creation, we might call it. And so this great cloud of hydrogen began to then be attracted into itself and begin to swirl in a dance of love and becoming ever more unified and attracted until finally the hydrogen, it then began to be so finally unified that it ignited into light, which is a solar polis. A solar polis is when hydrogen finally unifies itself together, and then there's the ignition of light, which then creates all of the suns and all of the stellar beings within the universe. Now, this occurred, of course, probably several billion years after the first emanation, and the universe being posited to be around maybe 14 billion years old. We call this first emanation of solar beings the first birth of sun systems. There was nothing else within the whole universe. There was only these stellar beings, which was hydrogen, positive and negative, that had been unified in a field that then became light activated. Christed beings, if you will, because they were from the creative source, the creative matrix. That was the consciousness that was behind the gathering, the love that was coming together. And over eons of time, these suns, if you will, these great solar beings, they then finally continued to burn their hydrogen. And then as they burned themselves out, those suns began to collapse upon each other, upon themselves rather than each other. And as all the hydrogen collapsed upon itself, it was such a tremendous force of gravity. Gravity, once again, being love. Something is so attracted to something else, it simply then becomes unified. And this is what happened with these great solar beings. The attraction of the hydrogen then finally then began to squeeze all the hydrogen together. And as two hydrogens were squeezed together, two electrons, two protons, it created nitrogen. Nitrogen squeezed together with another nitrogen, it created carbon. And on and on and on until all of the elements of creation were manifested. But then the sun exploded. And as these suns exploded, it then spewed out into space. Now, the importance of this is that every particle was created from a solar being. And so every particle within your body is from a stellar solar being. Every particle within your body, every particle within the earth, every particle within a tree, within the chair you're sitting on. All creation is simply particles of sunlight finally manifested into physical form. And then within our, what we call the second wave of solar creation, The suns then begin to gather from out of the cosmos, this swirling, magnificent elemental substance. And as they begin to gather together, it then finally created the planets. And so the planets are, again, but solar essence, solar particles manifested within form. And then we as human beings were then created from that. And so we can kind of postulate that, of course, everything is but God. Everything is but source. You are a stellar being. Your body is a stellar being. Your consciousness arrived forth from that which is source. And so only perfection exists within creation. But then through free will, we can have thoughts, our own individuated thoughts. And if we begin to think in error, we don't call it bad. It has been called bad by religious institutions, but it's simply gathering information, understanding if I have this thought, what's going to be the outcome. So as we continue to think and act and do and receive back as what we call karma, events that are simply a mirror today of what we have mirrored in the last lifetime, so to speak, we then begin to learn and grow and have more understanding and can then make choices to become more aligned with love, with sharing, with peace. And so it's always an evolving system of creation. And so we are at the place right now upon planet Earth where we have been allowed, if you will, as human beings to create from thoughts and feelings much ignorance. We've created schools and systems of politics and financial, penal systems, on and on and on, all based upon error. Error is that's bad and creates judgment. And now we see it falling away and being destructured so that we can then begin to restructure from knowing and feeling the truth that we are stellar beings. The perfection of the soul already exists. And if we learn to mirror life from the perfection of the soul, we simply reveal what is already there, a body that is already made of light. And because we have revealed a body that is made of light, we know that that which we call the eoma is made of these star particles. And so as we then focus the mind, imagine and feel, we then create with this magnificent, clear eomic substance, perfection. And so all things already exist within this great field of energy. There are no food shortages. There are no economic shortages. There are no oil and gas shortages. It's just whatever human beings think and feel, it then creates it to be so as a mirror of what they need to experience in order to make changes within, continue to evolve and to grow and to become something which is more in alignment with the being they truly are, which is a perfect soul. And so we're at this great time of now movement into this, if you will, age of really creating from inside out what is really needed on the planet. And so because we'll have abundance within all things, we'll no longer need to manipulate or control, no longer need to fight for resources, fight for territories. It all falls away. And we move to a place of real harmony and peace, which is the joy of where we're moving now. So that's really where we are within our planetary unfolding now. Very exciting and quite wonderful. The thing, of course, that helps us in that is knowing about the star tetrahedron and the magic of finally training the mind to be silent and focused, which is the true masculine. And as we then let go of emotion which is judgment and feelings of fear and worry, and we begin to hone and refine the true feminine, which is love and imagination. We love and imagine. We focus the light. This beautiful Christed matrix is now formulated around, through, and within us. The doorway within the center opens from the heart back into the void. And solar beings we become. Solar beings that once again create life, just like our sun creates life. It has gathered this substance to it, created planets in order to evolve life, in order to evolve solar beings who can then, on a planetary system, create more joy and peace and a very unique unfolding of source becoming. So, quite exciting. One of the things, of course, that assists us greatly in this is our breath work. The reason being is when we're breathing, we're not only breathing in oxygen, we're really breathing in from the open doorway within the heart, spirit. And so it is a in-breath we are summoning, if you will, source from inside out. And so with a very deep belly breathing, as we're in breathing, we're then really calling and summoning source from out of the open doorway. And as we are then filling the aura with this sparkling, effervescent gold dust, this is the way that we imagine it. And as we image it and feel it, it becomes magic stardust. And as we then simply let go with a gentle exhale, we watch it move through the body, re-architecting it into perfection. We watch it flow just like waves of light out into the world, and it begins to recreate the world in harmony and peace. Not trying to manipulate the world, but simply creating a new frequency, a new breath of living light that changes everything before it. Such simplicity. So we're going to do about 5 minutes of deep, deep breathing. And as we're deep breathing again, knowing that from the open doorway within the heart, source is arising from inside out. We like to have the spine nice and straight. The spine is the rod of initiation upon which the 7 chakras are then perfected. From fire at the base of the spine to spirit at the top of the head. Becomes a golden tube of living light. So let's go ahead and begin the breath work for about 5 minutes of deep belly breathing. And a couple more deep breaths, summoning spirit from the open doorway within the heart. Source arising forth as a living spring. I am the spring of life. And then, as is convenient, for yourself slowly coming back more and more into the moment of the now. One of the things I wanted to mention tonight is I've had a couple of inquiries from students, individuals I do sessions for, and I've been telling them that it's now time as we move towards really deepening in November and then moving towards December, that this is symbolically and even factually the time where the bear goes into the cave. And so the energy field begins to quiet down. It's just like the sap in the tree begins to once again return back to earth. And there is dreaming from earth once again of the next spring that will be coming. The bear once again dreaming of the new beginnings in the springtime. And so, in a very similar way, our energy now is going to begin to retreat. And that's okay. You don't need to push at it. You don't need to think I should go out there and be doing something magnificent. It is now more the time of really dreaming and beginning to think, okay, now when I really return in the spring, as the days begin to lengthen after December 21st, and I begin to once again feel my energy rising, what am I going to dream? What's the feeling of now the beginning of the coming year? So it's okay to be quiet. It's okay to journal and be more internalized as we now move from really November deepening into the time of December. So quietness is just fine, my friends. It gives us a chance for more meditation, which I salute. So, of course, our work is about the magic and the mystery of the star tetrahedron, which we formulate through our consciousness around, within, and through us. It's a focusing of the light of the mind, the perfection of the soul. The soul is already perfect. It's simply seeking to mirror itself within stardust, within this dimensional world. And it's our limited thoughts and feelings and ideas that have created the stardust to look out of balance. It's an illusion. It feels very, very real, of course, because the body is a feeling system. But as we change our feelings internally, we begin to image new frequencies, new vibrations. The body comes back to its perfection and wholeness. And so this is part of our meditation, and a great deal of our spiritual work is based upon mirroring the perfection of the soul within. And that is done, of course, through the third eye, where the soul has an outpost of pure light, the image of perfection of the soul, the great and sacred and divine being you already are. And so as we hold the light steady, and then we simply focus it down to the heart, we imagine the feeling, the body of perfection, golden sunlit radiance, the star particles glowing with effervescent magic around, within, through us, and all around us. At the same time, we're imagining and feeling then the star tetrahedron, the Christ matrix, a prism of living light that then holographically creates reality around us. And so as we're focusing the light and imagining, we're seeing the upper triangulation of divine power, the lower triangulation of divine love unified. It's in front, it's in back, it's within, it's all around. And as it is turning and spinning, the doorway opens within the heart chakra and source arises forth. It gives life to the star particles, and creation then becomes a living essence. So I'm going to take you through the guided meditation to begin the star tetrahedron meditation. So let's go ahead and close the eyes and feel the body relaxing. I'm already the bear going into the cave for a snooze. Body's relaxing, letting go. I'm aware of the breath that brings life from the open doorway within. And with each in breath, the body relaxes and lets go. I am the light. We bring our attention between the eyebrows and within the approximate center point of the head. We ignite the light. Imagine the light in the center point of the head, the perfect light of the soul. Holding attention here, light increasing, filling the mind with sunlight and peace. Focusing the light to the heart chakra at the sternum, we imagine, we feel the star tetrahedron, triangulation of masculine power above, the divine feminine below. And as the triangulations turn, it opens the sacred doorway. The doorway within the heart from out of which spirit arises forth. A living spring. It fills the body with liquid living light. It flows out into the world and brings peace on earth. I am the light. I will join with you. We will create a living star of magnificence. Welcome home, folks. Well, once again, thank you very much for joining. We'll get together again in 2 weeks, just before Turkey Day. Namaste, my friends. Thank you.